Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. Because everybody wants to talk about them right now. I got to tell you, the funniest thing about last week's loss, the 32-35 to Miami, is the Bears lost that game, but you would not know it by all the radio talk, the online talk, people just talking. It's like they won that game. I mean, it's crazy. And, I've told you, I've been a fan since 1975, and I've never experienced something like this with the Bears where they lost and everybody's like, yay, and it is because of the improvement of course, Justin Fields and our offense. It is getting better each week. And, the defense is a problem, and it's going to probably be a problem the rest of the year, people, so you're just going to have to get used to it. Our defense at this point is next man up, right? Because we did get rid of Quinn and Roquan, which were great trades. But, let's see what these youngsters have. The youngsters on the defense now are trying out for next year. They really are. And our backfield's set. It's our defensive line and our linebackers that we have to work on, particularly our defensive line. That's why we can't stop the run, because we have no really good line. But there's young guys on this team, so let's just see who steps up, right? And who wants to have a future with the Chicago Bears. So let's see what happens. So it is fun, though, and it is fun because they lost, and everybody's talking like they won. So let's talk about the game that's coming up this Sunday. It's Detroit, who are 2-6, and the Bears, who are 3-6. Obviously, Detroit has had their bye. We have not. And it's at Soldier Field. So this should help. The Bears should win this game. But, They should have won the Washington game, and that was an abominably embarrassing game. So, I can't even tell you. I'm predicting the Bears to be 6-11 or 7-10 this year. I know a lot of people. My good buddy, who I do the podcast with, Dan, he says we're going to be 11-6. Dan, I love you, man. You know I love you, but it ain't going to happen. So anyways, we're playing Detroit. So let's read a little bit about them, okay? So we played Detroit. They first met in 1930, and the Lions were called Portsmouth Spartans because they were based in Ohio. That's weird. That's interesting. Oh, I see. Okay. So, blah, 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 blah. I'm so sorry. Pickled. So anyways, they were the Portsmouth Spartans, and they were in Ohio. They moved to Detroit in 1934 and became the Detroit Lions. And in 1933, the Bears and the Lions became division rivals, and to this day, they still are. The Bears and the Lions have played 184 times. The Bears have won 104, and the Lions have won 75 and 5 ties. It's one of the few teams I've told you about this season that the Bears are actually beating in the series. So, Detroit is turning it around too. They really, really are. They just need a few things here and there, and they got to decide who their quarterback's going to be going forward. So, my son and I were talking about this, and, you feel bad for Detroit fans because we know how it feels. And so Detroit, they're coming to play on Sunday, and Campbell, their head coach, is going to have them playing. So this is not a gimme by any chance. Well, no game's a gimme in the NFL. But the Bears have to continue from where they left off last week, scoring points and trying to stop the other team from scoring points, our biggest problem. So let's do a little comparisons here. So the Bears passing, this is league-wide stuff right now where the teams rank. The Bears, again, are still dead last in passing. They're averaging 125 yards game. And Justin has not hit the 200 mark, has not gone over 200 yards passing in a game yet this season. So I'd really like to see that happen. We know he can run. They're doing a lot of short passes with him, which I'm fine with it because they're getting first downs. But I'd like to see their confidence build a little bit more and see if we can get Justin to go downfield a little bit more. We've got a couple now. We got, Claypool as an option for a receiver. And as I've said, if Claypool turns out to be what we think he is, he could be the number one receiver, and Mr. Mooney can go back to being number two. And that's not a cut to Mr. Mooney. I love Mr. Mooney. I've got his jersey, but he's a true number two guy. And if you're targeting Claypool as your number one, then Mooney is going to get more chances, and he's going to shine like he has the last couple years. So I'd like to really see maybe get some long passes down here. Let's, but keep doing what you're doing. So we're dead last in the pass. Lions are much better in the pass. They beat us handily in it. They're averaging, Jared Goff is their quarterback, and he is averaging 243 yards a game, and that makes them 8th in the league. So they're very good at this. Now the rush, the Bears are number one in the league right now, mostly because of Justin Fields. They're averaging 195 yards a game, and we've had 5 games in a row now that we've run over a rush over 200 yards or more a game. So let's keep that up again. The Lions aren't too shabby at running either. They've been averaging 134 yards a game, and that puts them the 9th in the league. So you know what? They've got a pretty solid offense, and so they're going to give our defense a lot to think about on Sunday. So I think this could be a shootout, to be quite honest with you. The Bears are scoring an average of 20 points a game, which we know the last few games it's up, but they're averaging all 9 games so far, and that puts them 21st in the league. And Detroit's averaging 23 points a game, which puts them 12th. So we're comparable there. Bears defensive has been allowing up, and this has been the last 3 games. Prior to that, they were stopping defenses or offenses, but we had Quinn and Smith. So they're averaging, the defense has given up about 24 points a game, which puts them 21st in the league. And this is about the only bad thing for Detroit that I'm seeing right now is their defense is giving up 29 points a game, which puts them dead last, 32nd in the league. So let's hope that the Bears and Justin Fields can take advantage of that, because Jared Goff, you're going to find out in a minute, can throw the ball, and they've got a running game, so and receiver. So shootout, I think, and I'd sure like to see the shootout end in the Bears' favor. How about you guys? Okay, so Fields is average. He's not averaging. He has thrown 1,322 yards a game. I don't know what my problem is today. Sorry. Good Lord. Guess it's been a long week. So he's got 1,322 yards. Goff has 2,041 yards. So a big difference there. Rushing, hands down, Fields has got Fields got 602 yards so far this season. Is that crazy? That's running back numbers. He leads the team in rushing, and Goff has run for 29 yards. So clearly, running for Goff is not going to be an issue in this game. So the Bears do not even have to worry about that. The Bears. Justin Fields has 10 touchdowns with 6 interceptions, so he's finally flipped that narrative because it was the other way around before, so I'm liking it. Goff has thrown 14 touchdowns with 7 interceptions, so he's got more touchdowns, so he's half and half, so the guy can throw. This is a big difference. Fields has been sacked 33 times. Yeah, 33 times. And I believe he's still leading the league in being sacked. Goff has been sacked only 13. So Goff has got an offensive line because Goff doesn't run. So he's got a good offensive line, which is also is why they have a good running game. As I said, they're right up there. So that's going to be a challenge for the Bears defense because they don't have a lot of sacks and they're not getting a quarterback set much anymore. So I'd like to see that step up a little bit. I'd like to see some of these youngsters step up. Now our running backs, very comparable. Our Herbert is not, as I told you, Justin Fields is leading all running backs with 602. But Justin Herbert, great Justin Herbert, number 24, he has 586 yards with 4 touchdowns. David Montgomery behind him. Now, he's only played 8 games, not 9. He has 397 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. And the thing about David, though, I love is he can catch as well. He's got, I want to say, I don't know, I want to say he's got well over 200 yards receiving. David does. So he's doing it on both ends. David is rushing nicely, and he's catching some balls nicely too for Justin. Detroit's leading running back is Williams. He has 545 yards rushing with 8 touchdowns. That's a lot of touchdowns. And the next guy up is Swift, and he's got 247 yards for the Lions with 1 touchdown. So comparable, but the thing is, I was looking at it, I didn't list them all, but Detroit, they have a lot of wide receivers that have a lot of yards. There was like 4 of them in there that had 300 plus yards, or 200 plus yards and stuff. So he throws it around Goff pretty much like Justin Fields has been doing the last few weeks. So the balls are going to be whipping around on Sunday. Our leading receiver, Mr. Mooney, as I said earlier, he has 407 yards with 1 touchdown, which he finally got last week. Right on, Mr. Mooney. And our tight end, Cole Kmet, he actually is second in the most yards receiving with 200, and he has 3 touchdowns now. And I'm really liking how Cole Kmet is really starting to get involved with the game. I was kind of not happy in the beginning of the season because you just did not hear his name being called at all. Now he's doing it all, and I'm loving it, and he's got to continue to do that because he's only helping his quarterback out. Their leading receiver is St. Brown, and I've just found this out, that St. Brown, their receiver, is the brother of our St. Brown, who is also a receiver on the Bears. Yeah, and he's number 19, I believe, on the Bears. So they're related. They're brothers, so kind of cool. They're playing each other. He has 399 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Hackerson has 395 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. And you know what? When I was talking about the running backs, this is where my mind is so pickled. So, and I apologize. I don't know. I'm off my game today. So the running backs, the Williams has 545 yards, 8 touchdowns. Swift has 247 yards with 1 touchdown. And I was talking about, I mixed it up. So that's what I wanted to say was on Detroit, their receivers. So they have these 2 guys that I just said, 399 and 395, which is really nice. But then there was about 4 or 5 that had 300 and change too. So this is what I meant. This is what I was talking about when I was unfortunately under the running back division column. The wide receivers, he does throw it around, and they've all got a lot of yards. So he's got a lot of weapons, Jared Goff. Definitely more than we do as far as wide receivers. But we've also got Claypool. We've got Mr. Mooney. We've got Cole Kmet. We have St. Brown. And Harry. I really like to see Harry start getting involved too. He's kind of been a disappointment. I know he was out and he's just getting back in the last 3 days games, but let's get him involved too. So, but again, these balls are going to be thrown around. The Bears and Detroit are very comparable, and defensive-wise for sure. The Bears have 13 sacks. The Lions have 12. The Bears and the Lions both have 9 interceptions. The Bears have 11 fumbles, but only recovered 4 out of the 11. Detroit had 8 fumbles and recovered 4. So in that area, we're very comparable in defense. The only thing we're different is they're giving up more points than we are. But not a lot, but they still are. So the Bears defense is going to have their hands full on this game because we're just not that good. And Goff is going to be flinging it around because our backfield did hurt last week playing Miami. We did not look good. That was the first week we really did not look good, and that was the first real big test. I felt a lot of it was they were very intimidated by Hill, their wide receiver, who has now over 1,000 yards receiving already, and it's week 10. That's crazy. And then their second wide receiver has close to 800 yards. So they gave the Bears a lot to think about last week, and their hands were full. And the Bears, I felt the Bears were intimidated, and they played off too much. They played off because they didn't want them to get big chunks of yards, and they did anyway. So I like to see the Bears maybe tighten it up a little bit with these Detroit receivers and see what we can do. We don't want to give up those big plays like we did last week. But between these two quarterbacks, and if Justin continues to thrive and do as well as he's been doing, it is going to be a high-scoring game. It really is. And unless our defense can get their shit together, right? So that's the comparisons. As you see, stats-wise, we're very close. Not a lot of difference. Records-wise, we're close. We're both teams rebuilding. We're in a major rebuild. Both these teams are. So they're going to want to prove something on Sunday. Both these teams want to prove something. And it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. I would love to see our Bears because, it was all great last week, losing by 3 points, which we all know about that game, and by the way, so that that pass interference that was not called at the end of the game on the 20-yard line, the league, the referee official league admitted that they made several mistakes in that game, including that one. Well, yeah, that's great. You admit it, but it doesn't do the Bears any good because they still lost that game. Had they gotten that pass interference call on the 20-yard line, at best, the Bears would have tied that game. If we didn't move the ball, it would have been 35-35. And they might have scored a touchdown and gone ahead. And it was, gosh, wasn't that like 2 minutes or close to the end of the game? So big mistake, refs. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. You know what this is? The smallest little violin that feels sorry for you. That's what I say to you, refs. Do your freaking jobs. I mean, the guy was standing there staring at the play. And that's when, a lot of people do these conspiracy theories that, these refs now, especially that there's a lot of betting going on, and betting's tied into football and it's legal everywhere. A lot of people believe that the refs are controlling some of that. And, I don't want to believe it. I don't believe it really. But after seeing what happened to the Bears on Sunday in that play, it makes you wonder. It makes you think, because that was just bullshit. That guy should be demoted. But that is all I'm saying on that one. So my point is, these teams are going to come to play. They want to prove it, and what I want to say is that I would like to be happy and talk about a win, not a loss. Almost win. I want to win this week because we're as I said, I'm saying 11 or excuse me, 6-11 or 7-10. So there's not a lot of wins left for us. So let's do it, Bears. Something I was reading about, and I want to say about the offensive line. You know, the offensive line got picked on from day one, and it should. It's not good. We've been missing our center for pretty much the whole season. He played one quarter, and then he's back hurt again. So Mustaford has been playing the center, and that's not his position, and he's not good at it. But we do have Cody Whitehair back, and Trevor Jenkins has been really stepping up. This is the guy we got in the draft in 2021. He hardly played last year. And the Bears, if you remember, in beginning of camp, were trying to trade him. And, you know, I was always wondering, so I did a little investigating. And one of the reasons the Bears said they tried to trade him was they didn't have a lot of film on him because he didn't play much. And they said when he came into camp this year, he did not get along with the new coaches. And they said he came in extremely immature. Interesting, huh? Well, things have turned around quite a bit, and he is on the coach's good graces, and he's playing very well, which what he should be doing. I believe he came out of Oklahoma, and he should be showing what he has. So there was one thing that I did read about him, and he is third after the last, what did they say, 4 or 5 games. He's third in what they call PFF ratings among guards, and he's rated at 86.3, and that makes him the 3rd highest. And I didn't know what PFF meant. You know, I didn't. So I had to write this down, and I'm going to read what I wrote because this is what it is. So the PFF grading takes into account the quality of the play made to get the sack, excellent plays to defeat blocks will be guarded higher than sacks when the quarterback just happened to be flushed past a player as he was being blocked or only to get taken down. I'm not even sure I even understand what that means. I can be quite honest with you. I read it to you, and I don't really understand it. But their grading met 3rd best in the league at 86.3. So huge improvement for him. And with Cody Whitehair being in there, so each week there were a couple times last Sunday where the pocket did what it was supposed to. It came around, the defenders were coming around, and the offensive guys, the line just held them so Justin could stand in there and get the ball off. Or he had enough time to decide, am I throwing, running? You know, so we need the line to continue to improve each and every week. This will not be our starting offensive line next year. I can guarantee you that. There's not going to be, some of these guys are going to be gone, or they're going to be backups, because we are going to get in the draft some offensive linemen, and maybe in the free agency, I don't know. But this is going to be the Bears' first priority, because you got to protect your quarterback. So we'll see. But the fact that the line each week a little bit better, I'd like to see our running backs. Last week, neither Herbert or Montgomery had a lot of yards. They didn't, I believe, I'm just trying to remember, I think Herbert had like 53 and Montgomery had like 40 something. So obviously Justin Fields had 178 yards last week, so he was leading. But I'd like to see our running backs, and that's kind of Justin's call. If it isn't a pure run call, he has the option to run himself or give it to the running backs or throw. So, and he chose to do a lot of the running last week. But we got to watch this, because we don't want Justin to take hits. He's been pretty smart so far. Well, he's been avoiding some hits, but there's a quarterback, Cam Newton, and he was a running quarterback too and a throwing quarterback, but he took a lot of hits, and now he's not even playing. His body took a beating, and we do not want that for Justin. I do feel that next year Justin will be throwing more than running. I don't know if that's going to happen the rest of this year because of our line problems and wide receivers, but guarantee the Bears are going to want him next year concentrating on that because they don't want their quarterback to be the main runner. We've got running backs for that, and we don't want him to get hurt. So we'll see what happens. So, the one thing I did want to talk about a little bit real quick is I've been watching these games, and actually Nagy. Oh, my God. Why did I mention that name? Oh, my God. Mouthwash. Somebody give me some mouthwash. Coach Flus. The league this year, these coaches are chasing points way too early in games, and I don't like it. They did it again last night in that terribly boring game on Thursday night. Oh, my God, what a boring game. And it didn't cost them the game, but it could have. And the reason it didn't hurt them so much is the other team missed an extra point, so that gave them that two play different. Like they were only 10 points apart. Let's go. I am so sorry, man. I don't know what my problem is tonight. Whew, you think I would have smoked a joint before the show, and I didn't. Maybe I should have. Anyways, this points chasing is driving me crazy. And actually, Coach Flus did it last week too, and I didn't dig it. But we ended up getting the 2-point conversion, but I felt it was too early for that. But it worked, so I was happy. And I think that could have been the first 2-point conversion the Bears have successfully made happen since the season started. But I'm just not digging it. I don't know. Maybe I know some of you probably really like it. You like that they're going on 4th down all the time, these teams. I don't mind it sometimes, but sometimes it's getting carried away where some of these coaches are going for it. It really is. And then you're not seeing punts, and I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. So I don't know. We'll have to see. So I don't really got a lot to talk about today. This game again on Sunday, it's not going to be a lopsided game. I think everybody wants a lopsided game and the Bears to win. Yes. We would love to see that this year because we have not. But I don't believe that's what's going to happen on Sunday. I think it is going to be a shootout. I think both quarterbacks are going to be throwing touchdowns. And I'm good with that as long as the Chicago Bears, when that fat lady sings, they have more points. I don't care if it's 1 point. I just would like to see a win. And of course, as I say every week, I just want Justin to get better and better. And people, he is not even close to his potential because he's running great. He's seeing the field better. He's more comfortable with his offensive line as much as he can be. And he's getting more comfortable with the receivers. But there's still things. I mean, there were some things where he missed. He over. See, that's the one thing about Justin is when he misses, he overthrows. So he's got to get those feet settled and quit overthrowing. But that's his biggest problem is overthrowing. So he's still got things to learn. He has got a long way to go. But if he continues each game the rest of the season, and then he comes out in 2023, he's going to hit the ground running, and it's going to be the sky will be the limit for this kid if he just stays healthy and keeps his mind in the game. And I'll tell you what I was thinking the other day. If this kid turns out to be everything people say he's going to be filthy rich and be one of the biggest stars in that state of Illinois. He will probably never pay for another meal or drink in his life, and he will make so much money in endorsements. Justin Fields, you have no idea, Coach Flus, how badly the Chicago Bears fans want a franchise quarterback. We've never had a franchise quarterback. Never. And we want to turn this around 2023 and beyond. We want to control our division and Green Bay for the next 2 decades like they did us. It's time. The tide is turning, and the Chicago Bears are going to be on top in 2023, and the Packers are going to be on the bottom. You heard it here. So it's coming, people. And the other thing, oh yeah, so my threes. I didn't do my threes. 5 penalties or less, to be in the game or win it. The Bears have got to win that time of possession. You know why? It keeps Fields on the field. It keeps Detroit's defense on the field. It keeps our defense off the field, and it keeps Detroit's offense off the field. Super important to win. And the turnover battle, you got to win that too. And the last couple weeks, the Bears haven't really been getting any well, they didn't get any turnovers last week. So I'd like to see them turn that over. They did in the Dallas game, but they did not in this game. So let's get a turnover or two, okay? So, my threes. We'll see how they do. And on that note, I love you guys. Oh, and I always like to promote this other show that I'm doing. I am doing a podcast with a buddy of mine who we hooked up. We're buddies now. I mean, we're best buddies. I love this guy. He loves me. We hooked up a little over a month ago. He's in Atlanta. I'm in Vegas. But if you didn't know it, turns out, he's 20 years younger than me. He lived just like 2 miles away. We lived apart in northern Illinois as he was growing up. It's just too crazy. And he waited on me in this restaurant, we're sure of it, that we went to all the time. So, and we're having a blast. We do a podcast. The last two podcasts we've done were live, so we really had a blast. And we're getting a lot of viewers. So check us out. His tag name is Country Bears Podcast, and our show name is The Lowdown with Dan and Lynn. So check it out. We'd love to see you. Subscribe. If you like my show, subscribe, tell all your friends. I was going to tell a bear story today, but I'm trying to keep them to 30 minutes or less, so I'll do that maybe on Monday. I haven't been doing my bear stories, and I got a lot of good ones, so I'll hit you up on Monday. But and I always like to say thank you for everything. And I want to give a special shout out to someone, a good friend of mine who I've known 50 years, and we're still very, very close. And she is at best a casual fan and a casual Bears fan. She's happy when they win, but, she watches football because her husband has it on. But she has been so loyal to me these last 3 years. And I know she doesn't really care about the show, but she watches all my shows. So, Sue, man, Susie, I love you, I love you, I love you. And I'm not going to tell her that I'm calling her out, but that's a good friend, right? And I have some other friends but that are pretty loyal too. But Sue, hands down, never misses a show. And most of my family doesn't even watch. I know, can you believe that? I've got a pretty sizable family. No, they don't. They can't even turn me on and give me views. Good Lord. I wish somebody would turn me on, bump. And on that note, again, Susie, I love you. You're the best. And everybody who watches me, thank you so much. I have regular viewers, and I've had for the last 3 years. I passed my 300 subscribers, and now I'm trying for 4. So, you know what? Get the word out, This show was a little rough, so if it was your first one, I'm much better at it than what happened today. But, I'm human. So they say. And I just hope you come back for more. We love the Bears. Go Bears and win this game. Come on, Bears. And as I always sign my show off, I love you guys. Be kind to one another. Stop hate. Help people out. This is tough times we're living in, so we all have to stick together and be kind to one another, and most importantly, smile. Smile. Smile at people, because smiling doesn't give you wrinkles like frowning. See all those? And it gives you a double chin, too. So smile. And if you smile at people, and if they're having a bad day, you might just make their day. So that's my wish. And us Bear fans are tough mothers. And we can get through anything together. Let's do it together. Okay? So on that note, I love you guys. Go Bears. I'll see you Monday. And as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby.